to stifle and curtail freedoms that many Kenyans have fought hard to achieve.
And those same leaders, as much as they thought they were better or they were bigger than the Constitution, they're the same ones that still ran to the courts thereafter to seek solace and protection. And so if you do not defend, you do not protect, you do not build these institutions, where will you come back to run to?
This year, the country saw a resurgence in activism, particularly with the rise of Gen Z protests. KHRC noted that this period represented the peak of public activism, especially compared to past regimes. Yet, despite the energy and determination of these movements, the response from security forces was swift and violent, diminishing the progress made.
When you look at all the regimes we have had since 2013, it's about canonism. And therefore, you can see where we are going with the current situation. Today, I saw a report from Civica saying Kenya has been downgraded in terms of the state of civic space from being obstructed to repressed. It means now we are bordering, basically, in simple terms, on a dictatorship.
Stakeholders also noted that the executive has failed to protect the rights of its citizens, especially when it comes to ensuring law enforcement upholds human dignity. In their call for reforms, KHRC addressed the alarming erosion of judicial independence, stressing that a truly democratic nation must ensure the autonomy of its legal system.
It must be a regime which is grounded on Article 1, which acknowledges the sovereign power of the people, which is guided on the principles of good governance in Article 10, which operates on the principles of Article 19, where human rights is about to be the basis for pushing political, social, and cultural policies. What we call actually at HRC, human rights-centered governance, a regime which is grounded on the principles of Article 73 on integrity, accountability, a regime which serves the people. So I think the Constitution is very clear in terms of the parameters of this democratic regime we have been yearning for.
The Commission is further calling on political leaders to embrace protection of voters' rights and to embrace alternative political leadership, advocating for a regime rooted in respect for human rights.
I think towards 2027, it is the Gen Z who are going to determine how we are going to proceed. But if justice is not fostered and accountability is not enhanced, it means it's going to be very difficult for them to come out and keep on organizing. And of course, we must protect their votes, because we know the system will do what is possible to repress them and ensure that they are not going to get IDs, they are not going to register as voters, and therefore make the determination we need.
Gertrude Burgay, K24 TV.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church has trained thousands of youths on gender-based violence in Nakuru County. The program, dubbed the Pathfinder Company, aims to equip boys and girls with essential knowledge and life skills while challenging traditional gender norms and stereotypes. The norms and stereotypes are said to be the root cause of gender inequality and limit girls' and women's access to opportunities, including transformative education, fueling gender-based violence. At the same time, the church has called on the government to focus on the implementation of policies to tackle violence against women and girls, crime and intercommunal conflicts, among other vices.
The government have been promising to assist our youths and to assist those who are with our youths. But majorly when it comes to facilitation, when it comes to having personnel, we find ourselves vulnerable, we find ourselves palpable that we are not able to have such people who the government is really putting in place to make sure that our youths are well equipped for the current and also for the future life.
The government has really embraced the girl child. I cannot complain. Yeah, it has been given the girl child a first priority until nowadays people are complaining that boy child gender is diminishing. So I cannot complain that the girl child has not been empowered. Yeah, it has really been empowered by our government.
A clarion call has been made to the government to fast-track policies and plans to facilitate ease of doing business and attract investors. Speaking during a 3-day Investors Expo, Bidco Africa Chair Vimal Shah has lamented that most of the investors have time and again been turned away due to high taxation and tedious bureaucratic procedures. The political class was urged to shun rhetorics that can harm the fragile business environment and scare away investors.
One of the reasons why we are here, because trade and investment is part of public service delivery. And we are saying here today that it's a great day when the International Confederation for Chambers of Commerce and Enterprises, all the way from New Delhi, is coming to Kenya to open up opportunities for trade and investment. We want to say very clearly that Kenya has quite a good climate and environment for trade and investment. Actually, Kenya is a pace setter in the continent of Africa, and we are pushing it forward through the bilateral and multilateral trade agreements to ensure and facilitate a conducive environment for the country and even for the continent. Here today, there is a very big chance that has been opened in the country that against everything else that is happening, especially in the governance space, we still have investors out there who are willing to come and invest in the Republic of Kenya. But we need also as a country to put our books to order. We need to ensure that licensing, we need to ensure that taxation, we need to ensure that the cost of doing business is lowered in this country.
If it's a matter of going digital, digital doesn't cost money. Does sending an email cost you any money? It doesn't. But we're charging every email, every one of these things on eCitizen, a convenience fee and all these other charges. Make it cheaper, make it easier. If you learn from India, they've got something called Digital Public Infrastructure, DPI. Google it, you'll find out. DPI.
A section of Kenya National Union of Nurses have defected from the union and joined the Union of Kenya Civil Servants following what they claim is poor representation from the KNUN, which they say it had turned into an individual entity. The nurses are accusing the Secretary General, Seth Panyako, of arrogance and dictatorial tendencies, which has been a thorn in the flesh of the nurses whenever they try to fight for better services for the government. Panyako has been a man and a siege from his union members.
Stop intimidating nurses who want to join UKCS and let them decide exactly which union they would want to represent them.
And today, we want to unequivocally state that we are not going to be intimidated, we are not going to be mudslinged, we are not going to be character assassinated. And today, the nurses of Kenya have decided that it is UKCS or nothing, because nurses have lost faith in KNUN, nurses have lost faith in you and your rogue leadership, nurses have lost faith in the tumbocracy, nurses have lost faith in the tyranny. And this day, it is a brand new beginning for the nurses because they have suffered a lot.
For us to reach this decision of Kenya nurses and midwives decamping from Kenya Union of Nurses, which is now a private company of Panyako, it is a very painful decision for us.
Solidarity forever, solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
Well, we leave it at that. That's just about it for K24 News. Thanks for making time for the segment. I'm Alan Owino. Our sign language interpreter for this session has been Clement Moli. Do have yourselves a lovely one.